around the world, perhaps you've heard before, uh, people make some interviews and they ask questions like, do you know which president do you think it's proper to win the elections? Which candidate um, is the proper one to win the elections? You know, or sometimes they ask questions like, "What do you think about a president? Um, what do you think about the candidates?" And they don't even know what they're talking about, right? It depends on the country. We're not talking specifically about the U.S. or South America or Australia, or we're not talking nothing in specific. I'm just saying, if you noticed that a lot of us, I can include myself, because sometimes I ignore about some politics, about some politicians, about some amendments, about sometimes we ignore. So we need to learn. So around the world, sometimes young generation, a lot of, I'm not talking about anything wrong about the new uh, generation, because I've seen a lot of kids. My gosh, they're super smart, and they can even become multi-billionaires at young age, 22, 28, and they already are multimillionaire. So what I'm saying is, have you noticed that around the world, sometimes people that works for the news, they start asking questions when uh, a government, a new, some of the countries, they have in elections, and they ask questions like, "Do you know who's going to win? What do you think? Who are you betting to win the next candidates for the new elections for this and such a country?" Right? And they're like, "I don't know who's candidate or not." And you're like, "Oh my gosh!" And you live in this country and you don't know who's running for president. That's kind of right. So let me know in the comments down below if you like us to talk about countries, presidents, politicians, or just generalize a little bit of everything, or at least, or how about history? How about geography? A lot of the kids sometimes, you know what? I'm gonna stop saying things about kids, because kids are super smart, even smarter than me. Okay, some people, you ask them, do you have an idea what's the population around the world? And they're like, no idea, right? They don't even know that we are around 8 billion people or something. uh, they don't even know how many countries around the world. Some people say, well, maybe 80, maybe 1,000 countries. They don't know if we are 148, 200, 400 countries. They don't even know about it, right? So we can probably start talking about those subjects that are very interesting, uh, and also perhaps about accents. You know, I love Australian accents. Don't you love them? I love the way they talk. Man, I wish I can learn and do that strong. Perhaps is it similar to United Kingdom, um, London, the way they speak, or they're different? The Australians, they speak different, right? But I love the accent, all of them. I love it. I totally do. I totally do. We can perhaps talk about China, you know, population. Russia's got a big population over there, right? Um, what's going on with the Middle East, Iran? What's going on with Egypt? Uh, what's going on with Israel? You know, people that are in war. Okay. Um, how about Russians? The issue that they're having right now. How about, I don't know, France? Let's talk about anything. You let me know. Uh, Canadians, Canadians, do they want to be part of the U.S.? Don't get me wrong, please. I don't want to get there. I'm just mentioning that if you think we all are nationalists, I do understand that. We all are nationalists. Yes, we are. We love our country. We were born and raised in certain countries, and we are going to defend our countries. But just an idea, vague idea. You can put the comments down below and let me know if you think, if I was Canadian, you know, do I think we need to belong to the U.S. because the U.S. been supporting us for such a decade? You know, um, do we need the U.S. or we don't need the U.S.? Put the comments down below without fighting, please. Don't call me that. You guys, this, that. Don't. I'm not getting in there. I'm just bringing up topics to bring up something. How about Greenland? It's got a small population, Greenland. And they're not being helped by their own Denmark country. Um, so what's going on with them? Um, what happens with Alaska? What happens with they're too far away? Are they receiving everything they need? What's going on with California? California and the huge fire every year, the same thing over and over. Mr. Trump, he's correct about saying, opening a gate in a river, a faucet, whatever it's called, and let water run all over through the Rocky Mountains, whatever, and support. That way, California is going to be okay and never be on fire ever again. That's one thing, right? Um, Let me know what do you think about the rest of the states. Uh, which states would you like to live? What's wrong with living down in Florida? What's wrong with some a lot of us, including myself? I don't like hurricanes. I don't like tornadoes. If you live in the middle in center of the U.S., um, I hate tornadoes, hurricanes, um, you name it, right? uh, what's going on with the border down there between the U.S. and Mexico. Um, what's going on with the immigrants? Are they already keeping them away from the U.S.? Are they having trouble still? Is Mexican taking care with their soldiers? Is taking care of that so they don't get inside of the U.S. anymore? Um, are they receiving the proper humanity um, help from their own countries to get them back with them? Okay, what's going on with Panama? Panama Canal. There's a lot of people talking about it. It's a controversy thing. Uh, I don't blame nobody when sometimes people ignore. Being ignorant, ignore is not an insult. Being an ignorant, I'm an ignorant. There's a whole bunch of things, million things I don't even know, right? So I'm learning every day. I'm learning. So we are all ignorant. What do you think? Some people living at the house with my family, I was sharing these topics, and I'm saying, hey, anybody has an idea? When was the Panama Canal built? And they were lost. They didn't even know about it, right? They probably forgot that it was built in 1914 and it took over 10 years to get it built. And there were thousands of people working from the US, right? They even risked their lives. They lost their lives even building that canal. And the US government, the US was the one who made the investments, put the funds, right? And to get it done and get it built within 10 years. Okay. Back then, in those days, they came up with an agreement about Panama and, getting it built over there, but it was ruled by the US until, I don't know, it was probably back in 1990 something. Um, some of the presidents probably came up with a great idea about letting the Panama Canal being ruled by Panama country. And today, Panama, what's doing Panama today is making business around the world with every single country they feel like it, right? And today, charging certain amount of money to the U.S. every time we have our ships going through there for importation, exportation, whatever. And I don't get it. So I make the investment, and then after I make the investments in certain areas of the business, and then they're going to charge me every time I go by. This is weird, changing topics, changing subjects. Um, I remember in my young age, I commit a big, big mistake. Okay. Um, One of my kids, he got married very young age, and he had a baby. And then the next year and a half, 2 years later, he had another baby. And how irresponsible! He didn't even have a job. He lost his job and everything. And he's having another baby. How irresponsible, right? Okay, so putting that aside about his not being responsible, um, I, I was feeling, there was pity about it's my son. So I said, all right. I told the grandfather they had a big, big patio, big backyard, right? And I say to my kid's grandfather, do you think it's such a good idea? Can you let me use some space so my son can live here with his wife and his kids, his new, baby kids, my grandkids, right? And they grandparents, they seemed, I mean, when I saw them, they were so happy, so excited. You know what? It didn't even cross my mind about money, about where am I putting my investments at? Is it a mistake or not? I was younger. People make mistakes in life, right? Wrong business, man. Totally wrong business. Next thing I know, it takes me like 6 months building a, what was it? 2 stories, okay? Uh, Two apartments upstairs, bottom floor, first story, 3 bedrooms up there. Down below it was 1 bedroom, 1 bath, living area, kitchen. Upstairs another one, just in case they needed to rent it out, so they can live out of that. I thought it was a great idea. Um, I don't know. I understand back then it wasn't a whole bunch of money. It was probably, I don't know, 60Ks. I lost. No, I didn't lose. Hold it right there. I know where you're going, guys. I know where you're going. Please don't criticize me. So 60K, 60K. I mean, I sweat my butt making those 60Ks, right? So, but it's my son and it's my kid. So forget about money. So next thing I know, we finished building it and they were so happy. Gosh, they got divorced by the time it was done. It was built. Okay, wrong idea about building it because now today, well, back then they got divorced. All right, they get divorced, and I forgot about the property that I built. 10, 15 years later, they're talking about selling their property. They're talking about selling their property. And I'm saying to my kids, hey, make sure you get some from that construction we made for you guys, right? For one of my son and his wife. And they're like, they're not gonna give it to us. They say it belongs to their property, my grandpa's property. And when they pass away, it's gonna belong to my mother and to her brothers. And I'm like, so what's gonna happen with the share of the part? I made investments, some actions. We have something there, right? Um, like a stock markets, right? We got some shares right there. Well, it's an investment, right? Anybody. wants to fight for their own investments. So I'm like, okay, forget about it. Through the years, one day, one of um, my, the one I built the property to, his brother, my other son, we needed a $500 for something. He was at the hospital and he needed to pay a bill, and it was 500. And I'm saying, hey, can they let us use 500 and we pay it back? They got pissed. They got pissed because we were asking, at the time we needed it as an emergency, $500. So all right, let's stop right there. Forget about the $500. That's not a whole bunch of money. That's not a whole bunch of money, but still it's some money, right? And next thing we know, two things. We built a property in the wrong spot. It wasn't my property. It was my kid's grandfather, somebody else's property. So I put my investment in a place I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have had it, done it. Period. Why did I make an investment? Why didn't I buy a piece of land for my son? So 30 years later, I can give it to my son. I don't care. It's my investment for my kid, for my grandkids, right? But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. So big mistake. So what's going on with the US when they made the investments not back in the 1914, okay? And they finished that and forget about the president. Like, you know what? Let's forget about the president whose great idea was it to give it to Panama country to start making decisions for the canal. Okay, let's forget about that part. Why don't we start thinking, what did we do wrong, or why did we come up with such a great idea about making that kind of a huge investments back then about building the Panama Canal? So either way, it was going to be beneficiary for both, for the world, all the ships going through, for the US, of course, for Panama. They were going to get, they're making bucks right there, right? They having incomes through charging whatever fees, taxes, whatever for each ship that goes by, right? But today, the US having such a big, big discussion about what's going to happen now with something we built in the wrong spot. Maybe wrong, maybe not so wrong, right? Maybe the US was very smart building it, but some of the presidents made such a decision that today the US regrets it, right? And like now we want to get it back. So that's going to be something to discuss. Put the comments down below. Share with family, friends. If you think you like whatever we're sharing right now, some topics, some discussions about what's going on around the world. I mentioned Europe, I mentioned Russia, China, Australia, London, Spain, Canada. I mentioned the borders, Mexico, Panama Canal, what's going on. Put the comments down below, share with family, friends. If you think you start liking what we're doing over here, let's start sharing. Come on, guys. At my age, uploading with an iPhone 7, trying to become a content creator. Let me know if I'm doing okay. If not, I'm trying to be humble, but help me out, guys, to see if we get the 8 billion subscribers. 8 billion subscribers. Check it out. Okay, anyways, so that's one topic to discuss about. And a lot of you out there, I'm pretty sure you're smart, a lot smarter than me. And you are going to come up with a lot of ideas, a lot of solutions. What should do, what should not do? Should we keep quiet? Should we keep going? Um, what's really going to happen? Come on, man. Who wants to start a war today? don't we have enough war already with technology? You know how they say, are we going to have a really war, or technology war is good enough what we have it? I mean, is this microphone already got some chips that probably is listening to whatever I'm saying around the world, all the way up to whatever. I don't want to say it. Okay. Anyways. So let's keep coming down. What's going on with South America? Tell me about South America. Put the comments down below and let me know if you know something. What's going on about South America, Cuba? What's going on with Guantanamo jail, Guantanamo jail that probably few knew that there's a small part of the U.S. territory here in Cuba, in the western area, inside the Caribbean area, on one side of a Cuba island. They got them Guantanamo jail. That's where they're putting the terrorists right now. Okay, and the distance is only 90 miles between Miami, Florida, and Cuba, right there. So they're gonna put all the rails over there. All right. Tell me about El Salvador. El Salvador, Najib Bukele, he's doing such a great job. He's doing, I mean, for his age, unbelievable. Today, like I'm saying, maybe through the years, while we're getting older, we're learning things through experience. But these people, new generation, man, they are coming like really, really smart today, huh? They're coming with some good ideas. Good job, Najib Bukele. You're doing such a great job over there in your country in Salvador. And that's what I like about what you're doing. My vote's with you. Awesome, awesome, and you will be receiving a lot of help from Mr. President, Mr. Trump. I'm pretty sure of that. The U.S. is going to be a lot of support, and you're going to help. You're doing such a great job. Period. Let us know about the rest of the countries. There's some countries left out over there. Okay. Anyways, Venezuela. What's going on with Venezuela? Tell us about, if you have stories about Venezuela. What's going on with the president? Still a Maduro president right there, or you think the new one is the one who should be ruling the country? Okay. Next, we have Colombia. What happened with Colombia? Colombia recently had Petro. He had some kind of misunderstanding with Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, he was, chatting. I don't know. They had messages coming back and forth, and not sure if they agree with everything. Okay, same with Venezuela and Colombia. So what do we have over here down in Ecuador? What's going on in Ecuador? Mention something about what's going on about Ecuador. They having elections today. They having an election. I hope they get a good president over there and get the problem solved already and get rid of that whatever's going on over there. Because I hear it's such a great country that's doing awesome today. Um, I mean, tourists. They had lots of tourists, Ecuador, and all of a sudden, there's an issue right there. Okay, so all down South America, Brazil. Then you have Argentina, down to Patagonia, between Chile, Argentina, all that. Okay, all right, guys. Tell me if you keep liking this channel. Let us know. Make some comments down below. I'll see you in the next episode. But just make sure you hit the button like, make some comments, share with family, friends, and subscribe to our channel. Come on, what are you waiting for? This is so easy. All you gotta do is just click right there, and we are there. All right, let's make it to 8 billion subscriber. I'll see you in the next one.